Okay, so why did I decide to do this? So I found myself slipping into unconscious patterns of behavior, that I started feeling frustration and stress over the last 3 weeks while trying to get my dogs home. Which is funny, because when I started the process of getting my dogs home, I decided that I was okay no matter what happened. If I were to stay in Korea, because my plan was only to go home at the end of June, if I were to stay in Korea, it would be okay. If I managed to get my dogs home at this time, I'd be okay with it. Everything was okay. But the minute I made that first payment to have their blood works done, it was expensive. And at that moment, I decided I have to get it done. It doesn't matter what comes up, this must be done. And that was where the discomfort started. So the rules of the 3 days that I decided to try this meditation were no speaking, no reading, no writing, no gesturing, no social media, of course. So what did I do? In the morning, I'd wake up and have a cup of coffee, make my bed, get ready for the day, get dressed and washed. At 11:30, and I'd do a meditation 3 times a day. Morning meditation, afternoon meditation, evening meditation. All 3 were deep meditations. So 11:30 was my yoga practice. Straight after yoga, at 12:30 was the next meditation. Then at 1:30 was lunch, and at 2:30 I would watch the Vipassana lecture. I'll put the link below as well to that. And that's about an hour long as well. And before the Vipassana lecture, I did mention that I would have lunch. Yes, lunch. So after the Vipassana lecture, I would go for a walk at about 4 o'clock. And maybe for about 45 minutes to an hour. And then come home and sit. So anytime I didn't have something planned, I would be sitting and observing my breath. So in other words, full day meditation. To varying degrees, I guess, because when I'm sitting down morning, noon, and night, I'm sitting down with the intention to have a deep meditative experience, but not to distract myself with an intention or a purpose to get somewhere, not with the intention to become peaceful, not with the intention to become balanced, only with the intention to understand why I was uncomfortable during those 3 weeks, and whatever else consciousness wanted to reveal. In the evening, 7:30 every day, I would have my evening yoga and then straight into my evening meditation at 8:30, have a shower and into bed. Then the purge. This was terrible. I didn't understand it after the first night. So on the first night and the second night, I went to bed as usual after my meditation and after my shower. Woke up, I barely slept on both nights, barely got a wink of sleep. But anytime I would fall asleep, I would wake up to so much pain, intense pain in my chest and my body and my stomach. Now, I've had this stomach pain for the last 7 or 8 years. It almost feels like my intestines are in a knot, but it only happens in the morning, especially if I sleep on an uncomfortable bed. That came during the night, which it's never done before, but with so much more intensity than it ever had before. Night sweats. I was wet. My bed, my pajamas were wet. I sweated right through both the first and the second night. I also had to get up to go to the toilet 4 times during the night. After the first night, I was like, did I strain myself too much during my meditation, during my yoga practice, and then in sitting so upright in my meditation, did I hurt my back? You know, what did I do that caused all this pain? And it puzzled me. So for the second day, I did my yoga practice, but I didn't push myself. I was much more gentle. And with my meditation, I put a pillow under my buttocks to give my back that extra support. And yes, and then after the second night of meditation, I did a couple stretches on my back before I went to bed. Jumped into bed, same thing happened again. I think the most important thing that I learned was that no matter what experience of enlightenment or joyful, blissful, peaceful experience you have, any desire to cling to that experience is just as bad as the desire to cling to the experience of love, to cling to your job, to cling to your apartment, to cling to your car, to cling to anything is a negative experience, including clinging to your experiences of peace and enlightenment. So once you have those experiences, man, you don't want to slip back into your old patterns of unconscious behavior, because you know what it feels like to not live that way anymore, to be free mostly of stress, to be free of depression, to be free of anxiety, to be free of the past and free of the future, to be experiencing liberation on a daily basis. To slip back into that, who wants that once you've experienced true liberation? Nobody wants that. So what's the tendency? Is we want to cling. We want to cling to those experiences of peace and enlightenment. But that in itself is a negative experience. That no matter how much you understand something intellectually, it is useless unless you understand it experientially. The master of this Vipassana course that I was watching spoke about this quantum mechanics physicist who had discovered this machine that could prove vibration many years ago. He proved that vibration is real. He proved that nothing is solid, that the way that we experience life in the solid form, that nothing is the way it appears to be, that everything is moving constantly. He proved it. But he was still so sad. Why was he sad? Buddha on the mountain, or whoever else, experienced the same thing and explained the same thing, but not through the eyes of a machine. He experienced it through his own consciousness. He went deep inside and came and reported the same thing that physicist reported. Why were the experiences so different? Why was Buddha liberated, but the physicist not liberated? The difference was the intellectual understanding and the experiential understanding. If we understand something intellectually, it's of no use to us unless we've experienced it and we can embody it and we can know it down to the core level of our being. That was a really, really important message that came forward for me. And the last thing is just tying back to the beginning, that your teachers are only there to guide you. I can be hungry and eat this wonderful meal, but you will not get full unless you eat the meal. Another example that this Vipassana teacher gave. I can be thirsty and drink the water, but your thirst will not be quenched unless you drink the water. You can lead the horse to the river, but he doesn't have to drink. He won't drink. The information can be right there in front of him. He can have it in front of his eyes, but unless he opens his eyes to look at it, it's pointless, it's useless. Your teachers are only there to guide you. You are your ultimate guide. You are your ultimate teacher. Nobody else can lead you to the truth of yourself and your reality the way you can by going inward.